Welcome to the Total Wealth Academy radio show, where wealth includes much more than just money. It includes family, fitness, romance, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America made their money using real estate. Now your host, real estate investor and consultant, Steve Davis.
Hello and welcome to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're here together working on improving our financial IQ, our financial literacy. Total Wealth Academy is an education, coaching, and consulting program with about 50 years experience teaching people how to build a second stream of income by investing in real estate. Everything from single family houses to big apartment complexes, self-storage complexes, senior living, and so on. And it really is the goal of every Total Wealth Academy member to build a second stream of income about twice what they earn. What I tell my students is if you make $8,000 a month at your job, then shoot for about $16,000 a month in second stream of income. This not only allows you to quit your job, but leaves you money for romance, travel, fun, and the other great parts of life. I will tell you this, most of our members do keep a job, but they keep a job that they love. The vast majority of people, I think the estimate is 75% of Americans are unhappy at their present job. And it's not just income. They're just unhappy. Poor management, bad leadership. They may not even agree with the company mission statement, and they want out. So what our members do is as soon as their second stream of income is equal to their pay, they go find a job they love, even if it pays less, if that makes sense. But the wonderful thing about taking a job that you love is you will eventually make more money than you ever would have at a job you hate. If you look at successful people, they're doing things they love, that they're passionate about. Excuse me, one second. They do what they love, and that passion flows through, and their business grows. And yes, a lot of the members quit their jobs and start their own business, their own self-employment. So that's what we do at Total Wealth Academy. I want to answer a listener question from David, who asked, how does one of your members buy a 200-unit apartment complex? Well, one of our members doesn't buy a 200-unit apartment complex. It's multiple members that do it. They form an LLC and they pool their money and go buy the apartment complex. And there's two types of people in the deal, David. There's the sponsor. Now the sponsor is the person who puts the deal together. They locate the deal, negotiate the deal, close the deal, sign for the mortgage, and manage the property. The other members are passive investors. They may take money from their IRA or their 401k or savings. And by the way, you can invest in real estate. You can invest in these deals at Total Wealth Academy with your IRA or 401k without tax or penalty. And they put up anywhere from $50,000 to $1 million into one deal. So let's say we're buying a $22 million deal. That's going to take about $7 million to purchase out of pocket. That might be 70 members who put up $100,000 each. The sponsor runs the deal, and then he just sends the passive investors a check every quarter or semi-annually or however it works. So David, again, it's not one person buying a 200-unit apartment complex. It could be as many as 70. So when I look at your numbers, you've got enough to retire yourself probably in the next 2 years. I think it would take you about 2 years to do it, even with the substantial funds that you have in your 401k. But remember, you can use your 401k, you can use your IRA without tax or penalty. Okay, let's get into today's subject matter. I reviewed this on Friday and got several emails of people asking me to repeat it. I let them know, they can podcast that show, but they wanted to hear it live on the air with their spouse or significant other today. So I'm going to review what we talked about Friday. And what this is it's the epiphanies that happened at different parts of my life that led me to become financially independent and eventually wealthy. Epiphany is an aha moment. It's a sudden realization. And the first one that I want to talk about is the realization that our educational system, high school and college, teaches you nothing about how to build wealth. Nothing. What happened was I was at Texas A&M on a Navy ROTC scholarship with a Marine Corps option. And I was taking all these prerequisites, Chem 101, these odd history classes, English classes, all these requirements, knocking them out the first 2 years. And I hated it. I hated it because none of it had anything to do with what my goals were. Nothing. I couldn't understand why I had to take them because I was young and dumb. They say they want you to take all these courses to make you a well-rounded human being. That's a bunch of bull. They make you take all these courses so they can sell product. They make you take all these extra courses so that they can sell you classes. That's why they do it. But being young, I didn't realize that. I just thought it was stupid. So about the middle of my second year, I wasn't doing very well, just barely above a C average. And my counselor, Lieutenant Purdy, U.S. Navy, calls me in, concerned. He goes through his standard speech. And I looked at him and I said, "Where are the classes on getting rich?" He goes, "There are none." I quit school immediately. Immediately. Never sat through another lecture. What in the heck was I doing in college if it wasn't there to teach me how to get rich? What? I know how to get a job. I don't need help getting a job. What was I doing? I knew immediately I was wasting my time. Now, Lieutenant Purdy did something very special that I'm truly grateful for. He got me an honorable discharge, saving me from having to serve another 2 years, which would have prevented me from meeting my wife and prevented me from meeting 10 or 15 other instrumental people in my life. So I'm truly grateful to Lieutenant Purdy for doing that. But he recognized that I wasn't anything more than an entrepreneur wannabe. So he got me out. All right, we'll talk more about this when we come back from the break here on the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where today we're reviewing some epiphanies, some aha moments in my life that were instrumental in making me financially independent and eventually wealthy. And the first one is, you are responsible for your financial education. High school and college do nothing to teach you how to get wealthy. They teach you how to get a job. Well, like I joked about, I knew how to get a job. In fact, I got out of school, and within a very short period, I was in a 70 grand a year sales position. All my college graduates were making 30, 40, 45. I was making more than my college graduate friends. So I didn't need it. And I also didn't And it also didn't provide me with what I was looking for. So I started searching for the education. I didn't know where to go, what to do. So the first place that I went was the library, and I looked up finances. But all the books that I read, they were really just about stocks, mutual funds, gold, silver, and all these speculative things. And it confused me because it was what everybody was doing, and I didn't know anybody who was successful doing it. So here's what I did, and here's the second aha moment. I'm with a major corporation. I worked for 5 years for the same company. I win a national sales contest, and they send me to Hawaii for a week. When I got back from Hawaii, they cut my pay by 20 grand a year. And the epiphany that I had, the aha moment was, corporations don't care. See, I believed that if I worked a long time for the same company, that would make me important. I believed that if I was dedicated to the company, I was working 70 hours a week, that would make me important to the company. I thought that if I sacrificed for the company, working 70 hours a week, you're sacrificing your entire life. I almost lost my wife. Nobody likes this joke, but if you're working 70 hours a week, who's romancing your wife? It ain't you. Wake up. But the one that damaged me the most was I thought that if I was effective at my job, if I could win a national sales contest, I'd be important to the company. Because as you can see from my pay cut, they didn't care. And what I eventually realized is that the corporation has no choice but to not care. Their loyalty lies with the stockholder, not the employees. Their responsibility is to increase the bottom line. So if I'm making a high pay and they can find somebody younger, faster, smarter, and pay them less, they have to do it. They don't have a choice. It's their responsibility to increase the bottom line. And many of you brag about how much money you make. I just shake my head and walk off. The more money you make, the bigger target you have on your back. Those of you praying for a promotion, praying for a raise, do you realize you're screwing yourself? Because every time you get a raise, every time you get a promotion, the target on your back gets bigger. Plus, people who think they're going to climb the corporate ladder and that's their way to build wealth, they're taking the biggest risk in America. And these are the same people that will say, oh, I don't want to start my own business. I don't want to invest in real estate. I like a safe, guaranteed paycheck. There's no such thing. No such thing. Never has been, never will be. It's not if you're going to get fired. It's when. It could be 25 years. It could be 30 years. You're going to get fired. Downsized. Laid off. Whatever you want to call it. The highest risk position you can be in the United States is to have a job as your sole source of income. No one of average intellect will argue that point. It is the highest risk position in the United States. And guess where most of you are? In the highest risk position. But again, the aha, the epiphany, was that corporations don't care. Now, when they cut my pay, I'm going to tell you what most of you would have done. You would have put a meaning to that event in your head. And that meaning would have been, I got to find another job. That's the meaning you would have chosen. I didn't. The meaning that I took from it was, I can never take another job. Because they don't care. See how meanings can affect your life? If you put the wrong meaning to something, you can easily harm yourself. So, aha moment, corporations don't care. Well, the good that came out of that pay cut was that I couldn't sleep. Here I am laying in bed with a wife that's leaving me, and I'm broke. My bills are now higher than my pay. I'm negative cash flow, and I couldn't sleep. But at the time, Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank had invented something called an infomercial, and they were on late night TV. And there were all these infomercials on, guess what? Building wealth with real estate. And after about 30 minutes of watching it, it dawned on me, these were the books I should have been reading. I shouldn't have been reading about stocks and mutual funds and crap like that. I should have been reading about building wealth. So, with the last of my credit cards, $30,000 worth, I bought every set of tapes and books that I could get off late night TV. I took several boot camps. Some were just 4 days, some were full weeks, on how to invest in real estate. And you'll recognize some of these names: Carlton Sheets, Robert Allen, Dave Delgado, Tommy Vu. I take all these courses, and within 2 months, I was making more money than at my job. So I quit my job. Think about this. It took me about 20 hours a month working on my real estate, and I quit a 70-hour-a-week job. Do you see how I bought my life back from corporate America? I bought it back. I was able to save my marriage, spend more time with my kids, but the most important part of it, no, those were the two most important parts, my wife and my kids. But the second most important part was a little thing called peace of mind. I now had peace of mind. I was now my own man. I controlled my income. No one fires me from this. No one downsizes me from this. No one cuts my pay. I was in control. And a little thing called happiness bloomed as well. It exploded. I remember it to this day, how happy a feeling I got by taking control of my own financial destiny. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. Wonderful, wonderful feeling. So, at that point, I started by wholesaling, which allows you to do deals without using your own cash or credit. Now, you still need about $1,000 a month to do it, but, I mean, come on, that's nothing. To retire yourself, to buy your life back from corporate America, yeah, it's worth it. Then I started doing single-family homes, buying them as rentals. Did over 100 of those. Then got into small apartments, 10 unit, 20 unit, 40 units, actively. I managed those myself. Then I got into big apartments, 200, 500 unit apartment complexes. But then I learned about a thing called passive investing. And that was the home run for me. So the aha moment, the next aha moment, well, we'll have to discuss this after the break, but it has to do with the discovery of passive investing. We'll talk more after the break here on the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where we're talking about some aha moments. The first epiphany or aha moment was that college and high school do nothing to teach you about building wealth. That changed my life, and I began searching for this material in the wrong places at first, like most people do. Then I realized after getting a job, working for 5 years, 70 hours a week, that corporations don't care. They don't care about anything. Then the third epiphany has to do with passive income and another educational moment. What happened was Robert Kiyosaki wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he brings up the point in multiple ways that the goal is to have your income without working in the business. Well, when I looked at all my houses and my apartment complexes, I was working in those businesses. Now, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't 40 hours a week or anything, but I was still doing it. He said, when you're truly financially independent, when you own a true business, you do no work. Your name's not on the org chart. See, many of you think you own a business. You got a roofing business, a plumbing business, a restaurant, or whatever, and you think you own a business. Understand this. You only own a business if you can disappear for 5 years and make the same amount of money as if you were there. If you leave and you make less money, that's not a business. That's self-employment. Anything wrong with self-employment? No. But you got to make the distinction. You're just self-employed. Go back to 2008, 9, 10. I was in 11 or 12 apartment complexes. I didn't have a key to the front door to any of them. I didn't know the code to the gate. I didn't even know where some of them were. I'd never even seen many of them. That's a business because it threw off an estimated 80 grand a month. So here's the epiphany. Passive investing is the ultimate goal because you put up your money into an apartment, self-storage, senior living, whatever, and you do nothing. The passive investors at Total Wealth Academy are true business owners because they do nothing. They read a report once a month and they deposit, well, they don't even deposit their checks because it's automatically deposited into their account every quarter. So the epiphany, how do I put it? It's just the realization that I needed to sell all of my real estate and go completely passive, which I did. And I do nothing but passive investing ever since. So those epiphanies happened at just the right time in my life, or probably it wouldn't have mattered when it happened. It would have become the right time in my life because I acted on those epiphanies. What I hope this show does for you is makes you wake up to the fact that I don't care how many degrees you have from a college, university, or whatever, you don't know about money. I don't care how secure you feel in your job. You are going to get fired. And then the ultimate goal is to have a passive stream of income that is at least double your bills. And for most people, their bills are exactly what they earn. They're living paycheck to paycheck. That's why I tell everybody, double your paycheck. If you make $5,000 a month, then get $10,000 a month in passive income. There's no limit to it, of course. I've seen kids in their 20s with $80,000, $100,000 a month in passive income. And the wonderful thing about the passive income, among many wonderful things, is it allows you to retire, should you choose to do so, at any time. Any time. You don't wait for a specific age. You do it when you're ready. The other power of it is these income streams are perpetual. If you manage them correctly, they come in for the rest of your life. Whether you live 10 years in retirement, 50 years in retirement, you don't care. It's not like when you try to save your way to retirement and the minute you retire, you're praying, God, please kill me before I run out of money. When you have a second stream of income, you don't care. You want to live a long, healthy life. So those are the three epiphanies that I brought up on Friday's show. And I hope that instead of you having to go through the pain that I did to learn them, that you'll just take what I've shared with you, use it, and go out there and change your life. Because I know I harp on this, and people don't like it. But if you're 40, you've worked 20 years or thereabout, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. If you don't have $1 million in the bank, you're behind the 8 ball. You have failed. Now, don't call yourself a failure. It's simply results. What you're doing doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I'll share a fourth epiphany with you so that you don't feel bad about it. Listen to my argument, please. Do you know that the reason you're broke, the reason you don't have $1 million is not your fault? Here's why. When you were growing up, your parents gave you a map to success. Didn't they? They told you to work hard in high school, try to go to college, get out, get a job with a major corporation with high pay and good benefits, scrimp and save in an IRA and 401k, work for 45 years, retire, and live off your savings. Sound familiar? It's the map we're all given. Then when you got into high school, you know what your high school teacher said? The same thing. Same exact map. Then you got into college. Guess what your college professors and counselors told you? Same exact map. So you believed it. You hear it from 3 credible sources. Parents, high school teachers, college professors. But ask yourself this question. Were your parents multimillionaires? No? I know your high school teachers were, right? No? Well, wait a minute. Of course, your college professors are multimillionaires, right? No? Then is it not possible that they gave you the wrong map? They did. 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65. 95%. Using that map. It doesn't work. Now, some of you got desperate and you said, well, what I'm doing is not working. I know. I'll hire a financial planner. You believe that titles are important. Guaranteed. Almost everybody does. Titles mean nothing. Deeds and deeds alone mean something. So here's what you did. You forgot to do the math. You forgot to Google. How much does the average financial planner in the United States make? You would have found out they make around $100,000 a year. So here's what you did. You went to your financial planner and you said, hey, I know you don't make a lot of money. I know you're not rich. I know you're not retired. But can you teach me how to get rich and retire? They can't help you. They can't help you. They've never done it. See, it's not your fault. You had the wrong map. But when we come back from the break, I'm going to explain to you why now it is your fault. This is the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis. At the end of the last segment, I was explaining to you why, if you're not in the financial position that you want to be in, if you're over 40 and you don't have $1 million yet, why it's not your fault. But there's a problem. Now that you know you have the wrong map, if you keep doing it, it is your fault. 100%. If you decide I'm only going to have a job as my sole source of income, when you know that doesn't work, it's your fault. See, you can't unhear what you just heard. You can't unhear it. You know you've got the wrong map. You know it doesn't work. And if you don't change, then it is your fault. Totally your fault. You've got to change what you're doing if you want to change the results that you're getting. And I know it's harsh, but if you ain't got $1 million by 40, 45, you're behind the 8 ball. What you're doing isn't working. Wake up, admit it, look yourself in the mirror. Go, what I'm doing doesn't work. You've had 22 years to try it. Wake up. It doesn't work. And don't say, well, I'll try it another 20 years. You'll be 65. It's too late. Now, I better be careful. I have had 65-year-olds, 70-year-olds come in here and change their life. But you know what they all say? Where were you 20 years ago? You know where I was? Right here on the radio telling you the exact same thing I'm telling you today. Make a note. Do you know where your parents, teachers, and college professors are right now? Retiring broke. They now know the map doesn't work. Too late for them. It's not too late for you, but you've got to change. Reading was the starting point for me. We have 2 free books and the required reading list for the members and mentors at Total Wealth Academy. It's free. all you have to do is go to totalwealthacademy.com/books, totalwealthacademy.com/books, and there's 2 books you can download in PDF format, and then the reading list is there. You can buy those books or you can buy the audio. I highly recommend you do both. There's a lot of people that love to read, a lot of people that love to listen, but your retention will increase dramatically if you'll read the book and then listen to it. Dramatically. Don't know the statistic on it, but I'm just telling you. I think I've read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People about 15 times, but I've listened to it probably 20 times. It's when you combine those two, it sticks in your brain and you can actually use the material. And the very first book to read is one of the freebies. It's The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. You can download that at totalwealthacademy.com/books. totalwealthacademy.com/books. And if you really want to change your life and find out what we're doing at Total Wealth Academy, how our students are building second streams of income, just go to totalwealthacademy.com and click on the free sample class button there. totalwealthacademy.com. Click on the free sample class button. You can watch it online from your home, or if you're in the Houston area, watch it at our office. I will suggest that you want to see it live because you retain about 30% more when you see it live. Much more effective than watching it online. All right, let me open the phone lines. If you've got any questions about anything, any of these epiphanies or aha moments, give me a call, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Or you can email me, steve@totalwealthacademy.com. steve@totalwealthacademy.com. And you can ask me anything. Single family, flipping, wholesaling, small apartments, big apartments, self-storage, senior living. If you got a question about building wealth for yourself and your family with real estate, give me a phone call or email me. steve@totalwealthacademy.com. steve@totalwealthacademy.com. And remember that my email is open to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't have to be during the show. And no, I will not put you on a mailing list. It's simply an email directly to me, and I will reply and answer your question. Okay, got a question from John. John has a huge 401k, close to $1 million, but it's with his present employer. You said I could get access to that. How do I do that? John, it's a thing called a quadro, QDRO. A quadro is where you give your 401k to your spouse. That takes it out of the control of your employer. John, if you go to your employer and say, look, I don't want to invest in stocks and mutual funds, I want to invest in real estate, they're going to go, no. And you're going to say, it's my money. I know it's your money, but we're not going to let you invest in anything that doesn't make us money. So you have to get the control of your money out of the control of your company. So what you do, again, is quadro it. It's usually about $3,500 to do that. It takes about a month and a half. We have attorneys that can do it for you. Quadro the money to your spouse, then you and your spouse can invest that money passively in real estate here at Total Wealth Academy. Your first step, by the way, is the free sample class that I mentioned earlier. Go to totalwealthacademy.com, click on the free sample class, and get in here as quickly as possible. John, you could retire yourself in a year, easily. 2 years at the max. Okay. Phone lines are open. 281-558-5738. 281-558-KSEV. Or email me. It's steve@totalwealthacademy.com. steve@totalwealthacademy.com. Okay, this next email, oh, this is a sales pitch. Never mind. Let me see if I can find another real question. This is from Luke. Is it true that you can use your IRA to invest in real estate without tax or penalty? Yes. You know, Luke, you didn't tell me how much was in your IRA, which is fine. But, you know, I can tell you this. If you have $600,000 or more anywhere, cash, IRA, 401k, you could probably replace $120,000 a year, $120,000 a year job in 2 to 3 years. If you got $1 million, it's going to be less than 2 years. But I don't want to scare off people that only have 50 grand, 100 grand from getting started. We had one student who, after working 25 years, had $100,000. He invested it passively. 10 years later, he had 1.7 million and 120,000 a year in income. Now think about that. Took him 25 years to save up $100,000, and in 10 years, he created a 120,000 a year income stream, and that 100,000 is now worth 1.7 million. So, people with 50 or 100,000 that are starting, it's going to take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to really replace a substantial income. Okay, thanks everybody for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
You've been listening to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decisions. To find out more about coaching and consulting at Total Wealth Academy, visit TotalWealthAcademy.com and attend one of our free sample classes on real estate investing. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.